Hello and welcome once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, we live in the information age which I best describe as the age of the WhatsApp university, where the lines between truth and propaganda and the so-called fake news industry get blurred all the time. Now, a few days ago, when Yogi Adityanath's government in Uttar Pradesh announced that it was planning a law that would enforce a two-child policy, a former police officer sent me a message, and I want to read this WhatsApp message to you. This is why I like the Yogi guy. He's finally doing what this country needs. How long will Muslims be allowed to get away with having several children? Now, I didn't respond because such conversations usually end up in being toxic, us Hindus versus them Muslims fight. And I just didn't want to get into that. But I want to today answer my friend and indeed all of you out there who may be caught in the WhatsApp university world and who may have bought into this storyline that Muslims are procreating much faster than Hindus and their population will soon overwhelm Hindus. My friends, here is the truth. The fact is, if you look at fertility rates, Muslims are at about 3.1% at the moment, Hindus are 2.7%. Significantly, both communities are declining. Remember, in the 1950s, India's fertility rate was well over 5%, well over 5 children per family. So we've come down significantly. Now, even more interestingly, and I don't know if you're aware of this, former Chief Election Commissioner Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, who's written a book on this, has pointed out now that the National Family Health Survey 4 shows that the fertility rate of Muslims in 22 states is now lower than that of the Hindus in Bihar. What does that show? Quite simply, that the real issue when it comes to population growth does not lie with religion, but lies with income and literacy levels. That is the critical factor in the population challenge facing not just us, but any country across the world. When literacy and income levels rise, population levels decline. Now, Nitish Kumar in Bihar has realized this. Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh, it appears, has not. Which is why Nitish Kumar has made it very clear that he wants to focus on education and awareness, and which is also why in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath is suggesting that he will bring in legislation and a mix of coercive measures and incentives to bring down population. Are you also aware, my friends, that 24 of India's 29 states at the moment have achieved the total fertility rate of 2.1, which is seen effectively as the replacement level? Are you also aware that even the so-called Bimaru states, which we've damned for years, the Bihars, the UPs, the Rajasthan and MPs, are also showing a decline? Yes, in rural Uttar Pradesh or rural Bihar, the rate still remains high and that needs to be brought down. But that's where, as I said, income and literacy is the critical factor. And as I keep saying, and this I reiterate once again, while the national growth rate of Muslims is slightly higher than that of Hindus, both Hindus and Muslims are showing a declining population growth trend. This needs to be emphasized again and again. Truth is, my friends, very little about this is a genuine concern over population. A lot of it is about what we like to do a lot of, politics. That's right, Yogi Adityanath has an election in Uttar Pradesh in about 6 months from now. It's an election where, in an ideal world, he doesn't want the narrative to be about COVID management or the images to be about the dead bodies that were found floating in the Ganga. He wants the narrative to be on some other issues. So for 4.5 years, Yogi Adityanath did not speak about population control, but now suddenly wakes up. The clear aim, my friends, is somewhere to find issues that distract and polarizing issues that will end up sowing the seeds of division and hatred. Quietly spread the word that Muslims are procreating much faster than Hindus. Use your WhatsApp propaganda university and then promise legislation that we will ensure a two-child norm. The serious issue, my friends, that should be done in a state like Uttar Pradesh, if you are really interested in population control, is focus on your public health infrastructure. Improve the quality of primary health centers. Ensure better delivery of contraceptives across the state. Ensure better education and income levels. But what happens instead? You craftily and very insidiously shift the debate, the narrative slowly towards religious identity. Also, you very cleverly do it in a manner that no one can protest. After all, who can publicly be seen to be opposing a population control law at the moment? It's not easy. Which is why you will find that even the health minister of Rajasthan now says, yes, good idea. We should also have a legislation for a two-child norm. Now also don't forget that long before Yogi, there was the Congress leader Sanjay Gandhi in the 1970s. Remember, he was then the second most important person in the country, the son of Indira Gandhi, who in the emergency spoke strongly about hum do hamare do. But what did it end up in? Ended up in forced sterilization or nasbandi, and as a result was one of the major reasons for the defeat of Indira Gandhi in 1977. Since then, my friends, every study across the world has shown that any form of coercion, that you tell someone, I will deny you, as the UP legislation says, benefits of government schemes or of subsidies, or I will deny you a government job if you have more than 2 children, doesn't work. Instead, actually what happens is that if that's the approach you take, that I will deny you government benefits if you have more than 2 children, there is reason to believe it will lead to female feticide and will possibly even lead to an increase in divorce. Now that's the last thing that we want in this country. At a time when sex ratios are looking appreciably better than they have in the past, the last thing that we want is to create a legislative structure that will only in a way encourage female feticide once again. And that's why I say short-circuiting proven public policy initiatives with a legislation of this kind will only lead to potentially greater social upheaval. Here is a reality check, my friends. 50% or 152 of the 304 BJP MLAs in Yogi Adityanath's Uttar Pradesh have more than 2 children. One of them has 8, one has 7, 8 of them have 6, 15 have 5, 44 have 4 children, 83 have 3 children. Now I want to ask the Yogi Adityanath government today and the Chief Minister, if you want to bring in this legislation and you are genuine about bringing about change, are you willing to assure us that none of these 152 MLAs who have more than 2 children at the moment will be given tickets? None of them will be given tickets. Are you willing to make that assurance today? If you are, then there is reason to believe that you are serious about this legislation. If you are not, then I am afraid it's plain hypocrisy and an attempt to once again divide and rule. Let me also tell you that the Gorakhpur MP, Ravi Kishan, who has planned to move the population control bill in Parliament, he has 4 children himself. So I suggest that we should quit the hypocrisy and the grandstanding. let's for once not focus on headline management and create this headline that, we are going to enforce hum do hamare do, we are going to ensure through legislation a two-child family norm. Let's instead get serious, my friends, about population. Focus on education, raising income levels, raising awareness, not on short-term fixes. Unfortunately, my friends, our netas look for short-term fixes because their eye is on elections and your and my votes. The point I want to make is, it's time to remind them, ये public है, ये सब जानते हैं. Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. For many more such videos, do log on to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. I hope you enjoy the videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Namaskar. Jai Hind.